Ah, travelers! Ah, well met again. You don't remember me? Well, it is I, Andor, the Walker of the Seven Worlds, the warrior of renown, the rogue of infamy, man of mystery and mysticism. This? Well, it's quite a fine story. It is the rune encrusted psionically. That's the magic of the mind. Mysticism, mental powers unlocked from the brain. Perhaps it'd be a bit quieter. But with the power of the mind, these runes were etched and carved upon this two-handed silver blade, this great sword, epic proportion, sharp enough to slice a man in half with but the easiest of swings. How did I get it? Well, I took it from a Githyanki. Yes, a Githyanki. How? Well, let's just say I whipped him in the eye. Githyanki or Dix. So fuck him is why. Splayed his face clearly open, blood spewing everywhere, and I took his sword, and I was out, and now, well, I'm here. Amongst you, good travelers, companions, well met again. And for the time, then, I'll tell you the story of how the Gith became Githyanki. And it happened long, long ago. And before that, it happened far off into an epoch distance of time. Yes, beyond avenues of our understanding, the temporal stream, time, clocks. Many days passed. There was much sunlight and then dark. Yes, you'll follow me now, aren't you? That's fine. No, I want you to stay. I could have need of some men like you at the moment. But those times far, far in the future, in fact, from all the plates of etched gold that I have seen inscribed with words out of time, it is said that those are in fact the very end of days, the very end, vastly beyond our lifespans. Don't worry about that. But a time that may never come, or has already come. It is so hard to say, but there was a kingdom that spanned the multiverse. More places than this, and the woven tapestry of plains. But don't worry, I'll just tell the story. Just listen and nod your head. That'll be quite all right. Travelers, the multiverse, a weave of tapestries like a painting, chipped back to reveal painting after painting after painting, and still then a blank canvas. But that last painting had already been set, and at the very, very end, the very, very end of time, there set a kingdom and an empire of utter enormity, controlled by the living brains in vast vats and tanks, brains that commanded through psionic. It's like magic, right? But from the mind, not from the gut, but from the soul. Commanded by these tanks, these vast brain creatures, the lords of the Illithid. Illithid, mind flayer. No, that doesn't mean anything to you either. Well, good then, for it is good that you don't know of such things that lurk even here now. But these things themselves did not come to exist until the very, very edge, the very end of time. How are they here? Excellent question. You see, they found out that time itself was going to end, and that is not a good place to be in. When the universe will implode, and the multiverse will knock each layer out in succession, like small sticks falling into the flame, popping, and then they're gone forever. Yeah, it's quite a way to imagine eating away of our very reality. And this was what was posed to the Illithid. So, Githyanki, well, I'm getting to them. The Gith, as they were called then in that time long, long from now, should I say that they will be called. They were slaves to the mind flayer, and in the golden tablets with the strange etching and the odd language from far, far in the distant future and the ancient past, these stories, these shadows out of time, that have, how do we say, been implanted over my brain and etched onto it, same as they are carved, and they are carved in quite a discouraging manner, quite upsetting to the mind. I should suggest, if you ever find such things, that perhaps you do not look upon them, but hear my tale, for I shall make it most palatable to your brain. There, in that end of time, the Gith were a slave race, one of many, of the Illithid, in their grand empire that spanned all, not just worlds like these, but heaven and hell itself shuttered and capitulated their great wars to the power of the mind. But for every strength there is a weakness, and something happened, something unexpected happened and caused them to catapult themselves back, and when they did, they brought their slaves with them. And what were those slaves? Where did Gith come from? Why do we not see them before? Well, some say they're us. Humans, through a careful culling of eugenics, careful selective breeding, created into the form and image of the Mind Flayers choosing. However, there are so many characteristics about them. Their thinness, their gauntness, their yellow complexion, the liver spots, the russet, coppery hair, the tendency of style, their eyes of yellow and red, their bony knobs and clawed-like fingers and toes. I do not myself think that they came from the same stock my ancestors did. No. And there are others that say they were elves, so transmogrified to become the Gith or the Gish, as it is said by some. But I myself, judging by what they are now, judging by their affinity towards creating weapons that are the rival of any dwarf, judging by their affinity to war and their ability to handle themselves in such an admirable and complete fashion, their strong wits and minds, their strong bodies, I believe their stock lies not with man or elf, but in the bloodline of the hobgoblins. Look at them. Look at the coloration, the size. Look at the strength, the tenacity for war, the ability to command great legions and exist, the utter capacity for cruelty and knowledge. I believe this is what the Mind Flayer selected. For goblins read faster than elves and humans, so why not select the most elite of goblins for your race, for the beginning stock of your genetic material to be tested? Oh, don't worry about what that is. Just listen to my story. Absorb it all into your mind, and then know what the Walker of the Seven Worlds has brought to you to be understood by your mentality. Just listen. Just listen. It will be all explained in time. For time is what I am explaining. For it is those shadows at the very edge that echo back still now from time. But they came not here. They came vastly back in the early dawn of worlds, and to many worlds they came, the Illithid army, composing of many slave races, and some, perhaps, if we run into each other again on the streets, I shall tell you of those. But they were there in that old times, still commanding their slaves. But something else happened, and there was a revolt. Great legends and heroes from the Gith emerged, but they could not be content, and they tore themselves apart, for they are a strong slave race, and slaves no more, and in their warlike tendency, they split into the Githyanki, who are dicks, and the Githzuri, who are less dicks. And the Githyanki and Githzuri have fought to this day, and that would be one of the reasons why the Mind Flayers still continue to exist, for they each implement hunting parties of their own to track down Illithids and destroy them, dispatch them on whatever plane they are, and whatever hole they have hidden in. And perhaps the reason we still have suns in all worlds is for the vigilance of these evil Githyanki. And they are strong, and they have made great deals, and it is said their queen herself. Well, I'm in quite a bit of trouble, so perhaps I'll be quite quiet with this one. It is said that their queen herself is undead. It says she has existed for many, many eons of time, and her herself has commanded the great psionic ability, the ability of the mind, to become a lich, animated only by her own ability of mentality, her own cerebral capacity. Think about the ramifications of that. No strange old rituals, no prayers to forgotten gods. In fact, they worship no gods at all. They have turned their bodies on them and have created the most horrendous, blasphemous sights that mine eyes have ever laid upon. For I have seen them there, out adrift on the seas of madness, in the sapphire seas of dreams, on the astral. There float the bodies and heads of gods that have died, some names lost, some still remembered. And they, the ones who are not strong enough to be warriors or scions or leaders of their people, they are put together to mine with whatever slaves they have been brought. And yes, they do enslave. And they, the Githyanki, mine away at the flesh of the gods for creating abundancies of magic items, crafts of war, and you can imagine what power, the bones, the eyes, the flesh, the blood, rotted as it might be of a dead god adrift on the astral planes, what power that might be. And you see, they take silver swords just like this one. Yes, I have one. No, don't get too close. You might have to put my whip out if you do. Just kidding. They are very, very particular about these swords, and they take them. And when wizards visit the dream world, the astral plane, tether to their navel, a silver long cord is attached into this world from the dream trance they sit in to explore that strange, majestic, beautiful place. And the Githyanki are the predators, perhaps even the malignant parasites of that world, for they are parasitic in the way they infest dead gods. At best, they are no better than vultures or flies. At worst, perhaps something far worse than that, like mosquitoes darting around, collecting every bit of flesh and blood and tissue and bone they can. And if you cross them, even run into their fields of view, they will take swords just like this one, and they will take them, and they will slice them right through your cord, the cord that ties your soul and spirit back to your body and sends you off into an oblivion. You see, there is a proper way to which someone might die, and when you die, you go to your proper reward of your deserving of your life. I will have a great hero. You, well, anyway, the reward may often not come to those who are severed away in such a fashion. They may not be able to become petitioners to the particular plane of which they deserve. And that is a tremendous problem. They will adrift, essentially, much like ghosts tormented, and on the astral there are other things, other dark predatory things that prey on souls that have been so maliciously cast out. And they will grab upon them, and these souls will not have the luxury of the time of their gods to become petitioners, to prove themselves to whatever paradise or hell is justly theirs to deserve. Instead, they will become bargaining chips and slaves for infinity. A truly terrible fate, and that is why Githyanki are dicks, because they will send you callously to such a thing for no other reason than you were there. Really, who does something like that? Githyanki or who? And that's why I whipped the one right in his eye. I busted his eye completely out of his head, and turrets of blood. I took the sword. Well, I mean, it is a very nice sword. I mean, look at that. Etched with the power of the mind. That's mind power. How can you go wrong with that? The silver. I like that color. Just a fine two-handed blade. I've not had a two-handed blade in some time. Usually relying on my whip to crack out eyes, and it does work quite well. I tell you, my adventures have been numerous and expansive. Another thing to tell you of Githyanki, they are quite sinister in their ability to wheel and deal, and some have even made pacts with venerable ancient red dragons, and some even command younger red dragons in battle, riding them as mounts. If you can believe a red dragon to somehow take the place of a horse or a lizard or some other beast of burden to be ridden into war. Yes, gouts of fire commanded alongside silver two-handed blades, bolts from warlocks, and other tremendous might fighting the Githyanki is tremendous. An incredibly difficult task. But I have done so, and the proof is right here. Well, yes, I mean, they do tend to come back after the swords. And, no, he's probably dead. He's probably not alive still. The shadow over there? My companions, quickly! No, don't leave! Don't leave! Just stay here! Oh, gosh, there's a lot of them. Back off, then! Back off, then, you vermin of the astral world! You, face and off! Ah! Your blades are numerous, but you shan't outdo me! Avast, you group of foul vermin! Oh, you're still